It's a Peacock. Perfect for the way this show shows off. Look at that. See that too often walking around Dallas, Texas, do you? Well, that's because I'm not in Dallas, Texas. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and fish reporter. This is not the Fishbowl. We are taking a half day off, or, something like that. But what we are doing every morning, breakfast at Fishneys, is giving you the Cowboys, Mount Rushmore of every position. We did the coaches, head coaches, very controversial. We didn't have Barry Switzer on the list, and many of you, I'm pleasantly surprised, are irate about it. Now it's time to do the wide receivers. I'll take you on a little tour here as we discuss. Now, maybe not. Maybe it'll just hang. So, the 4 wide receivers that are on the Dallas Cowboys Mount Rushmore, according to me, and of course I'm interested in your votes as well and your thoughts as well. So pitch those in as we go. In no particular order, but you know me, I'm starting with Michael Irvin, the finest friend of the show. There's a cat. Hope that doesn't have anything to do with why the Peacock disappeared. Interesting. And Michael Irvin, the playmaker, fine friend of the show. He will tell you I wouldn't even have a career if it wasn't for him. So obviously we have to put him on the Mount Fishmore, but he belongs anyway. In fact, I've said this many times. I covered Jerry Rice my first for 2 years in San Francisco and saw him practice every day. And then I came here and saw Michael Irvin practice every day. You take whatever 2 receivers you want in NFL history to put on your team. I'll take Rice and Irvin. And as I've said before, and he finds this quite amusing, but it's true. I'll take my 2, you take whatever you want, we will beat your ass. Michael Irvin, of course, Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl winner, 5-time Pro Bowler, which seems like he should have made more, and the greatest team leader I've ever seen. Greatest team leader I've ever been around. Michael Irvin on the list, and of course I want your thoughts as well. Also, obviously, on the Cowboys wide receiver Mount Rushmore, Drew Pearson, the original 88, finally a Hall of Famer. Why did it take so long? The biggest credential for Drew, and of course the Hail Mary changed the way we talk about football, no question about that, the way we talk about life, kind of. He was on the All-70s team, the NFL All-70s team. He was named one of the 2 best receivers of the decade, and yet it took him all this time to get into the Hall of Fame. We're happy to honor him immediately as we do our first inaugural. Not that it's going to change much year by year, Mount Fishmore for wide receivers. So Drew, obviously on the list with Irvin. Next, and you start to, and we'll discuss this, and I know you will too, some good candidates here. Bullet Bob Hayes has got to be here. If you look at Bob Hayes' receiving numbers, he only had 365 catches. Now, this is a different era of football, of course. But tucked into those numbers, he also had 7,300 yards and 71 touchdowns. He averaged 20 yards per catch. As we all know, it's part of Cowboys lore. He changed the way teams had to play defense. They just couldn't do man-to-man against Bob Hayes. And so Bullet Bob Hayes is on the list. And then there's room for one more. You can only put 4 up there. And Tony Hill is one really good name. CeeDee Lamb's a good name. I've seen some people say, well, Amari Cooper. Stop it. T.O. is an excellent name. And I can't do it. Later in the week, we're going to talk about Deion Sanders and how he was brilliant, but also disruptive in some ways, but mostly brilliant. T.O. was at least as destructive here as he was a positive. I'm not putting him on the Cowboys Mount Rushmore. I won't let myself do it. You won't let me do it, even though, again, he's an iconic, extremely gifted figure. No, let's go with Irvin, Drew, Bob Hayes, and then, call me biased, Dez Bryant's 7 years here, cut a little bit short by injuries and money. Dez Bryant, fine friend of the show. You had to game plan for him. He put up numbers. He made impactful plays. He was so proud to be a Cowboy, and still is. Dez Bryant, 73 touchdown catches. That's that record. 16 touchdown catches in 1 year. Wow, that's that record. And 3 Pro Bowls, of course. Dez Bryant is the 4th guy on my Mount Fishmore for Cowboys wide receivers, joining Irvin, Bob Hayes, and Drew. Yes, I'm interested in your thoughts as well. And I'm interested in you going to cowboyscountry.com and talking more about this and reading all about it. Fish with sugar. Out.